Hello, welcome back to Collection of Dads. Mr. Snorlaxx here. I saw a film yesterday. Let's talk about it. The film was Exit 8. Now, Exit 8, I believe it actually came out last year. I've got a feeling it came out last year, certainly in Japan. Japanese film, obviously. So, Exit 8 is based on 2023 indie horror adventure game, um, which is an anomaly game. So, you've probably heard of it, you've probably seen clips of it somewhere. But essentially, it's a walking simulator where you sort of walking through a subway station, and the aim of the game is to seek out inaccuracies, find an anomaly or an inaccuracy. The idea is to turn back, and the level sort of goes up. Exit 1, exit 2, exit 3, to your eventual sort of leaving at exit 8. So that's the point of the game. That's a game that you can finish within 10 minutes if you have a good run. So, how was the film? I came out of the cinema, really enjoyed myself. So, for a game that you can finish in 10 minutes, how does that translate onto the big screen? Well, let's talk about it. So, very much like the game, it's set in one location, and it doesn't alter or change too much from the actual game itself. The way they actually created the set, there's something quite satisfying about it. It's hard to explain what I mean by that, but it's literally a like for like. I mean, yeah, is the game a bit basic in terms of the set, which could easily be replicated onto the big screen? Probably, absolutely. I'd very much recommend playing the game before you see this film, because it's not a horror movie in the sense that it's a gore fest or it's a cat and mouse sort of style horror. If you've played the game, you kind of know what you're going into with that, really. So I felt on edge pretty much the whole film, and a lot of it was quite uncomfortable, which is kind of what you want in a horror film, I think. And if you've played the game, it's hard not to keep talking about the game as well, because obviously it's something to directly compare it with. So if you've played the game, you'll know that it's also really weirdly eerie as well. In a way I can't explain. It's very psychological, heavy. Some of the anomalies are yeah, spine tingling really. But it does and you'd think, how would they transfer that into a film? Well, they did it absolutely amazingly. I can't say that enough. And then just the whole set, the way it was filmed was beautiful. They alluded a little nod to the way the game's played at the start, sort of thing. They hit all the big anomalies that you'd find in the game. So yeah, as I said, that I really enjoyed myself watching it. There's for sort of the big flagship anomaly game. I know there's quite a few now, and some of them are brilliant as well. But this is like the one that everyone got talking about in terms of anomaly games and stuff like that. So for me to play horror games as well, like, I mean, I've played Exit 8 ages ago, years ago when it first came out. So I don't do well with horror games at all. I'm kind of at my limit with a game like Exit 8, because it's more like a puzzle solver. You're not going into dingy dungeons and stuff like that. It's, as I say, some of the anomalies are eerie, but most aren't sort of jump out your skin, and yeah, they really hit the brief with that, I think. And excuse me for this pronunciation, but the main guy in it is Kazunari Ninamoya. If I get that wrong, I do apologise. It's just pronunciation, but I thought he was great, really convincing sort of way. I believe he's in a J-pop group, something like that as well. So it could well. I've not seen his acting credits or anything like that, so I don't know if he's been in anything else, but he was certainly good in this. The film's it does kind of what a few Japanese films done that I've seen. It's kind of like split into different stories or chapters. So it's split into three main chapters, really. It's almost like an anthology sort of thing. It focuses on different characters without giving too much away. It's something I appreciate. The way they do that. So, but yeah, it's, what can I say? Apart from it's a very, very good horror film. It's, and I've seen some absolute shockers recently. it's quite refreshing to see one that, really hit the brief in what I need from a horror film. And I also find that horror films do tend to rate really harshly on the main sort of film rating websites. I find horrors of it are very. I mean, you're never going to get a 10 out of 10 horror, unless it's something out of this world. But I've not seen any early reviews, anything like that. It kind of makes me think, did people enjoy it as much as I did? The way they were able to just deliver the sheer horror of being trapped in sort of like a never-ending loop was, yeah, nightmare fuel, I'd say. So, I mean, now let's talk about the slight negatives. There's not many, I must admit. The reason it loses a few marks is, as I said, the cinematography was like stunning, and the horror element was nightmare fuel. But at the end of the day, we are talking about quite a basic, albeit great, short indie game being transferred into a feature film. It has got its ceiling. Because of that, I just feel like, yeah, there is certainly a high mark that it can get, and not go much further than that. But you got kind of, it's basically down to, you're in a hallway, you got to study this hallway, and some anomalies are obvious, while some aren't, and the film does brilliantly at addressing both the obvious ones and the not so. So it's the same frustration, what did I miss? Did I miss anything? Why is it reset? I can't have missed anything, sort of thing. But it does for an hour and a half. It progresses the main character brilliantly in the sense that it dawns on him that he can't just fly through this, and very much like the game. If you wanted to just fly through it without seeing some not so obvious anomalies, you're gonna keep resetting, and that's kind of what they touched on really well here. You're studying this hallway like a fine-tooth comb. If you go through this loop again and again and again, it's probably time to start opening your eyes a little bit and researching what's in the hallway, and that is how they done it really good. But as I say, it loses slight marks just because there's only so much you can do with it. Some points really did feel like filler, and just going over the same old ground. They probably could have done this in a 30-40 minute short film. It would have been as good. But as I said, I'm not saying it's bad in any way, shape, or form. I've had a really good time watching this one. But yeah, I've watched 25 films this year now, and it does stand out. It stands out as a unique horror film that's been sort of adapted, transferred into a feature film. So I think that's unique in itself. It's certainly one of the better horror films I've seen this year for sure. And just on that, a little bonus, there was one of the trailers before it, Backrooms. I think it looks really good. Backrooms is coming out, and that in a sense might be a little bit more transferable as a game into a film. But I really wanted to see what they did with this one, and I'm glad I did. I was excited all day yesterday to go and see it. But as mentioned, they really did as much as they could have done with this concept. But yeah, I'd like to see other Anomaly games. I know there's quite a few now. So a few others adapted into films or whatever would be welcomed. Again, they don't all need an hour and a half films. This one was good. It was they did enough with it, I think. But yeah, it's all you can ask for. Hour and a half of horror. It's not like, if you get a little bit scared of horrors, it's eerie and scary in the sense that so many I can't speak today, sorry. Anomalies are, but the way they transfer it into the film is just great. So realistically, the mark I'm giving it is pretty much the ceiling of what a film like this could get. But it is a high score for me. I'll base this sort of on a few things: how much I enjoyed it, how accurate the transfer from the game to the film was, the visuals, the acting. So all in all, I give this an 8 out of 10 on IMDb and a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd. There'll probably be more reviews coming up. I like seeing weird and wonderful films, so if I feel a film is worth sort of reviewing and letting you guys sort of know my sort of view on it, then I'll certainly do that. But I've been Mr. Snorlaxx with Collection of Dads, and until next time, I will say adios.